What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. This is the JC Money and Coach Craig Sports Show. Unfortunately, Craig is watching the Kansas game. They are playing his team, and he doesn't want to be here. Doesn't want to miss it. So, shout out to you, Craig. It's just me and you today. What up, Andrew?
What's up, guys? Another race week, different race week, or different racetrack than last week. Last week was a total mess. It was definitely another super speedway. They did reconfigure Atlanta over the break, and yeah, they added another super speedway, so we got three, if you include Daytona, Dega, and now Atlanta. Thankfully, 5 times in the regular season you'll have a super speedway, and only 1 time in the playoffs. But yeah, that was kind of a bit of a curveball. I didn't do as well because some of my guys wrecked out. But yeah, we're back and we're here at COTA. Circuit of the Americas is the full name. You're in Austin, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's get it down, shall we?
Yeah, so this is gonna be interesting. A little Grand Prix, a little bit way different than what we're used to. We're used to that oval track, but things are gonna be a little crazy today. To make things a little bit more interesting. A little more strategy gonna go into this race. I feel like.
Yeah. Especially since they added the stages in, I've heard that strategy is basically out the window, and I think sometimes all you got to do is just pit in the when the stage ends. So definitely, the strategy has gone out of the window for the most part, but not for the stage points. I know some people are just going to stay out for the stage points to just improve their point standings, but and since SuperDraft doesn't count stage points, so that doesn't matter. So thank goodness about that. But yeah, you want me to take away with some updates?
Yeah, let's hit up some updates. Let's hear about any infractions or anything like that too. About anybody that's gonna be moving to the back, anything like that. So help us out with SuperDraft.
I think the biggest infraction this week, this was even before the race, was Brad Keselowski Racing was given a level 2 penalty, and those penalties were not at all fun. Apparently, they don't know the specifics of the penalty, or like the specifics of where the penalty was. Like all they're saying is just a rear body modification. As I pull it up. But yeah, it basically just took them out of contention. And how bad it was he was sitting 16th in the point settings. Now he's 35th. That's like a 20-point loss right there.
Yeah, no, thank you.
With how bad this penalty was. And then before the race, they usually do an inspection, and he already had he didn't pass 2 times, so that makes him even more sketchier to use even this week or even the upcoming weeks. Although I would consider him for use at these super speedways. He did run 11th last week, although starting in the back. I think the RFK, the only tracks that they're going to really be good at are these super speedways. And other tracks, it's just going to be a case by case, week by week thing. Other penalties for this week, a lot of small teams like Andy Lally, Hesman's had to do an engine change. Those guys I know have high multipliers, since usually the back markers have higher multipliers, but I'm not intrigued to play any of those. Other guys that have the infringements or going to the back, Allmendinger, Michael McDowell, and Eric Jones. 2 of the 3, even maybe Eric Jones, if you're considering to use them, are major guys going to the back. I know AJ Allmendinger has been really good here. He won the Xfinity race yesterday, so that shows you how good he is. Michael McDowell, he's definitely a good one to use on these road courses, although there was a stat, if I can pull it up. Do you remember this one stat of yes? So at the last year road courses, McDowell had the results of 7th and 8th, so top 10, very nice. But after those first 2 road courses, he had an average finish of 25th, and his best result was 16th. So I guess since this is our first road course, and if this trend continues of him being good at early on these road courses, then go ahead and use here. He's starting 22nd, but now going to the back. Definitely does throw a wrench in the plan. AJ Allmendinger, I don't even have the name stats. If you just throw him out there, everyone's going to be like, oh, yeah, he's a must play. And I agree, too. I think even with SuperDraft, I think he has a good multiplier, and I'm thinking they're going to throw him into a lot of lineups. If not, then I guess they're not too high on him, and they're more high on the guys that are pretty well known, like Larson, Kyle Busch, Chase Elliott. And
I'll
yeah,
pull it
those
up.
are some of
We'll
the
pull
few
SuperDraft
updates.
up.
Cool. And yeah, those are the few updates. And then I think Lally has a pass-through penalty, but that's not a guy I'm really too high on, so that's fine. Oh yeah, and also apparently another thing to note is that Blaney on his practice one, he spun and then he hit the wall, but apparently when he drove away and like when they took pictures of it, it was barely scratched. But just 1 hour just well like the tweet from 1 hour ago. Apparently they are loosening the rules, so thankfully NASCAR is not too strict as they have been. So they're gonna be able to repair the decal on that side where he crashed, and they are watching it. So like the officials are watching it. So if they end up seeing something terrible or seeing something not approved of, that he might actually be one to go to the back. He is starting on the pole. But usually, guys, normally on these road courses, I wouldn't start anyone on the pole or using the top five because really, with the way the strategy, well, like I said, strategy is out the window. But even then, the way that the field shuffles in this road course, and like this race isn't too long, compared to the other races we had. I don't think you're gonna get like a lot of like, as they say in like DraftKings and FanDuel, like these dominators, like these guys just dominating this race all the way. I think you're gonna have a mixed bag of people up there in the front.
Yeah, I'm trying to get SuperDraft to pull up, but my computer is not letting me share. It's not. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, it's okay.
Let's see. Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. I have a really, really crappy computer that has a slow RAM. So sometimes my computer doesn't work with me. Like today, you can tell I'm using my phone today to stream because my camera is so bad.
Mm-hmm.
This is crazy.
All right, actually, I have it
What?
logged. I have the. I don't have the lineups loaded up, but
What I can do is I can at least tell you. I can tell you what's going on. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
usually on this show we like to pull up super drafts. So you can guys kind of go along and see what's happening, but it's not working. I mean, you can share your screen too. I mean,
Sure.
But
Okay.
I'm pretty sure you can share your screen.
Yep.
So just open up SuperDraft and you can share your screen.
Yep. Can you see it?
Let's see.
Okay, whatever. All right, so the guys on this lineup.
There we go. Nice, good job.
Good.
Appreciate that.
All right, so like as usual, Larson and Hamlin have the lowest multiplier as always. So by going all the way down to these, there we go, to the guys that have the higher multipliers. Any of these guys in the back, maybe Ty Dillon you can consider starting 33rd. I know he's been somewhat decent at these road courses, but it has a decent enough equipment in it. Todd Gilliland starting 29th. He won the truck race here last year at Coda. He's also been from what I've heard, a decent punt in like SuperDraft or not SuperDraft. I mean even SuperDraft, DraftKings, and FanDuel guys, but I'm not too high on throwing them in the championship spot. The highest guy I would go to, or the guy that has the highest multiplier I would go to is. Oh wait, I guess they threw him down a lot more. Well, I'll get to him later then. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 2.25 multiplier. I'm not as high on him. I know that the stat is that he has since 2019 he has finished between 15th and 22nd at these road courses 75% of the time. His only best finishes are 11th, 12th, and then he had an engine failure. So he is starting 28th. Can definitely get you some place differential points, but I don't know. I want to try and get someone a bit better than what he has right now. Cole Custer starting third. He's been pretty decent at these road courses. I know we got third last year in the Xfinity race, but starting high up there, I'm not as high on him. Can he have a good day? I think so. But I guess my criteria for this week are definitely starting somewhere in the 12th, in the 11th to 20th region, maybe 24th, and definitely has a good car. So, guys up here, I'm going to skip around a bit to Chase Elliott. Starting 13th, he's been the king of these road courses. I mean, His worst finish at a road course so far these past few weeks, or even the past few years since we haven't gone to a road course. This is our first road course for the year. I don't think he's really even had a terrible finish. I mean, he's always been in there, in the top 10 and whatnot. That's the guy I would like to starting 13th. I know his practice speeds weren't as well. He practiced to a 30th place finish, but he's starting 13th, or should be starting 12th. Well, I guess, well, yeah, he should be starting 12th. I don't know why they put him 13th, but he's starting around 12th or 13th. So starting back there, if he gets the first place, that's 12 or 13 points already for your place differential. Um, yeah, so I like him a lot, even though he doesn't have the highest multiplier. I think he has a good chance to do it. The guy that I was looking for that I would thought that he had a high multiplier is AJ Allmendinger at 1.8. Like I mentioned, he won the Xfinity race yesterday, starting 20th, so a bit further back than Chase Elliott. Even if he doesn't win the race, he gets the top 5. That's already 15 points, more than Chase Elliott. So if you really want a guy that's really starting back there, I would go for AJ Allmendinger. Another guy that's on here.
Yeah, and Pro Picks, Pro Picks has, so if I'm looking at the Pro Picks, and Chase Elliott is like out of their 5 options, they got 3. He's in 3 of the champion spots. They got AJ Allmendinger in 1 of the champion spots, and then they got Kyle Larson in 1 of the champion spots. So it's kind of what they're building around.
Yeah, I would putting Larson in there is also a good idea. Although he has the lower multiplier, I guess he's supposed to be starting 13th or 12th. So 12, 13 place differential right there if he gets the first place. And he has a kind of, I would say, a faster car than Chase Elliott. Although he did practice 16, so a lot better than Chase Elliott. But then again, practice it was pretty short, just the way they have practice set up. Just 2 groups with like 20 minutes each. Not a lot of data you can take from that. Besides that, Larson's been really good on these road courses. His only worst road course last year really was Road America, where he got dumped by his teammate Alex Bowman, but he was running 6th. So besides that, Larson's been, and also the Daytona road course. But then again, that was the first road course, and we're probably never going to go back to a Daytona road course as for like these upcoming years. Besides that, Larson's always been finishing in the top 5 there, so I'm not surprised that they would have Larson up there and Chase as well.
What's up, Steven? What's up, man?
Yeah, what's up, guys? Thank you for tuning in to a different track this week than usual. We're not going to ovals. We're going to a road course. Other guys that I like, William Byron starting 24th. Never seen him as a road course kind of guy, but last week he did win Atlanta. Does this mean he can possibly repeat this week? I'm gonna say no, but that car definitely has speed. I know Phoenix, he came away with an 18th, but he was running the top 10 pretty much all day long. Just the last part of the race just fell apart there and scooted it all the way back to 18th. The week at Las Vegas definitely had a really good car there. And then Phoenix, he had a top 5 car, just had that incident with Tyler Reddick. Starting 24th in a Hendrick Motorsports car, starting way back there than all his teammates because Bowman started like 5th. Then you got like I said, Chase and Larson starting 12th and 13th. If you want a guy that possibly could be better than Larson, Chase, and AJ just on points wise, not skill wise, because I think the top in skill wise is going to be AJ, Chase, and Larson, or even though Cindric up there. I would go with William Byron. Has a higher multiplier than all the other guys I mentioned with Larson, Chase Elliott, and AJ. And he's in some really good equipment. Christopher Bell starting 7th here, 2.05 multiplier, a lot higher than the previous guys I mentioned, besides the ones we started in the beginning. He finished 23rd last week. But the interesting note was he got penalized because, they instituted the double yellow line rule, a terrible rule by a lot of what the NASCAR community says. It's the line. It's the rule where basically they have a line, and if you cross underneath it, you're basically penalized because that's just a no place for you to go to. He had to go down there. Otherwise, like in a tweet I saw, he said he's not gonna go down the yellow line. He's gonna wreck the field. So if he didn't go down there, he probably would have wrecked the field, and we would have had probably a worse fantasy day than it was. So I know Bell hasn't had the best of days, but in these road courses, he's been pretty decent.
Yeah, looks like Super Draft kind of likes him a little bit. They
Yeah,
have him
I'm
in
not
like two
surprised.
spots.
The stat is here. He has, besides Coda, Sonoma, any road course, those three races, he did have incidences, but like I just said, he had incidences at Coda. But remember, there was one thing I forgot to mention. Um, like I said, with incidences last year, it rained last year, so that throws just a whole nother like kind of oil in there, or like another wrench
Mm-hmm.
in your plans. This week, there's no rain at all in the forecast, so I think plans are going to change. So besides those races, he has swept the top 10 and has a 4.5 average finish at these road courses. He's running 10th on he was running 10th on lap 18 before in the rain he crashed. He has he has some good speed here. All starting 7th. I'm not too kind on running guys in the top 10 so much. But I mean, he does start back at the top 10 and around 7th. If you want to try and gamble on him, go for it. But just the way that the 20 car and the 11 car have been running here, I would just wait until they get a bit more consistency. I know Hamlin, he also wrecked out last week.
Yep.
I'd wait for some more consistency on those two guys before I would throw them into any lineup. But if you had to choose between the 20 or the 11 car, or if you want to throw them in, I'd go more for the 20 than the 11 because there's a higher multiplier and he
Mm-hmm.
starts.
Yeah, it starts at let's see,
And I think Denny doesn't. Denny starts. Okay, well, Denny starts one position
7.
back,
Yeah,
but I feel a lot safer with the 20 car than the
starts at
11 car
7. Mm-hmm.
because I like the 11 car mostly on these ovals and these short ovals and whatnot. So yeah, let's go back to oops. Let's go back to the 20 car place. Tyler Reddick starting 4th has the same multiplier as Christopher Bell starting a bit higher. Um, he has shown practice in the speeds. Just doesn't have the results too much of it too much in the races because last week he was running top 10. The Chevys last week they had some kind of issue with their tires where they just when the tire goes down just unexpectedly just goes around. He and Ricky Stenhouse had a problem with that. So very weird issues with them. For Reddick, I wouldn't go to him because he's starting 4th. But if he was starting back there, he is one to consider. Can he be someone to possibly lead and dominate this race? Yeah. So if you want to go for that aspect, sure. But if you want to go for like what me and JC like, are these place differential points, and they could possibly turn into these dominators or really have a really solid day, then I wouldn't go too much Tyler Reddick. Christopher Bell, Eric Almirola, Austin Dillon, not too much of a fan. They haven't really shown as much results here. I think even then, before the Coda race, Austin Dillon wasn't running it too well, and that's where he got a 15th place finish. So he's starting 21st, not as many points as you can get with William Byron, AJ Allmendinger, or even Carl Larson. Michael McDowell starting 27th, another guy I like here. I know he's going to the back, but he does well. Like I mentioned, I kind of already even talked about him. I see Coach Rick saying Almirola by morning. They said Almirola kind of messed up his qualifying lap. I didn't watch too much of the qualifying yesterday, but just from what I've seen on Almirola on road courses, I'm not one to take a risk with him. I'd rather go down to McDowell, like I mentioned, with all of his stats. And he's also kind of a road course racer, from what I've heard, and he's also got the experience. Bubba Wallace has the same multiplier as Michael McDowell. He is starting 23rd. He did run the Xfinity race yesterday in some Joe Gibbs Racing equipment, kind of the best of the Xfinity equipment, but he had a shifter issue, which relegated down into the 20th. So, I mean, Bubba, even then, that's why he's running the Xfinity race. And even some of these guys, they're just trying to get this experience down. So I'm not too high on Bubba. He's just trying to get that experience. I would probably wait a bit, starting 23rd, and I'd rather, like Coach Craig said, he's not as good as road course guys on road courses. So I'm not willing to use him on here.
What about Truex? What about Martin Truex Jr.?
Sure, let's pivot to him. He is having a 1.95 multiplier, so higher than Kyle Busch, another guy I like. I'll pair Kyle Busch and Martin Truex Jr. up here. Kyle Busch starting 15th. Definitely ran the truck race yesterday. Finished fourth or third, if I remember, but he was running third before. Yeah, the last restart on the truck race was a wild. Like, there was the last lap or the second last lap. They went in turn 11. It was him, Bowman, and another truck. They just went in there three wide and just kind of took all three of those trucks out of the running for the race win. Kyle Busch did come out with running, but just with the way that someone else was able to avoid that and just take the win. So that's kind of amazing. And I know the truck is different than this Cup race or the Cup car.
Mm-hmm.
I still like Kyle Busch here. I think I remember a stat, or I have a stat up here of at these non-Roval road courses. So the Roval road courses are the Daytona road course, the Charlotte Roval. Besides that, you got your Coda, your Sonoma, your Watkins Glen. I think any road course is going to be counted as a non-Roval course. I think also Road America is also a non-Roval road course. He leads everybody in terms of average finish of a 5.1. He has the most top fives of a 9. He has the most top tens in 13. Average running position of 8, and he is a really good driver ranking. This is going back to 2015, but even then, before Chase Elliott got into the sport as being the road course king, Kyle Busch has been solid on these road courses. I know starting 15th, Truex is starting 2 positions more than or 2 positions further back than Kyle Busch. Although I'd go Kyle Busch, and also Truex does have the higher multiplier. Truex here, his finish here is a bit deceiving. Like I said, it rained there, and he got caught up in one of those rain wrecks. But besides that, the stat on him is the non-Roval road courses. He's at a pair of 3rd and a 9th place, so 5th place is his average finish. So a bit better than Kyle Busch. I think, if I remember, if that's what I said. If not, both of them are just really good places, really good guys to use here at Dakota. Yeah, and so if you had to decide between those two, if you can try and fit both of them in the lineup, I would. Kyle Busch did lead the practice yesterday, but I think he was in that Group A qualifying. They split qualifying into 2 groups. Group A was basically the GOAT of road courses, that qualifying group, and Group B was meh. I think both Group A had Martin Truex Jr. and Kyle Busch, so Kyle Busch did qualify higher than Martin Truex Jr. But yeah, I go Kyle Busch. I mean, he's got that truck race down, got a bit more experience than Martin Truex Jr. But yeah, even though Martin Truex Jr. is good on these road courses.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go Truex as my champion.
Okay.
I think that's what I'm gonna do.
Mm-hmm. Other guys to mention that have not as high multipliers, Hamlin, we're avoiding. Joey Logano, 6th year, definitely has a good history here. Also at the Coda, he finished 4th last year, although in the rain. Even then, he's got a really fast car this weekend. Second fastest in the 5-lap averages of the guys who did run the 5-lap average. The leader in that 5-lap average was Reddick. I know starting 6th, 1 place higher than Bell. I'm not so inclined to use him here, although I would expect that he has a good day here. Chase Elliott, I already mentioned. Ross Chastain starting 16th, another guy I really like. Those Trackhouse guys, they have some kind of car going on because last week they finished 2nd and 5th, and even then Chastain, he spun out in the lead and he got some damage, and he was like 2 to 3 laps down. He still came back and got home 5th. So I know Suarez is starting 2nd and does have a higher multiplier. Yeah, see 1.95, but he's starting way too high up there for me to put him in any lines. But I do expect some good things out of both Suarez and Chastain for the Trackhouse camp. Although Suarez, his history here at road courses has not been that well.
Chastain's at a 1.2, which is actually a pretty decent multiplier.
Mm-hmm. And he's even starting further back than Chase Elliott and Kyle Larson. So I like him a lot. He's also shown the most speed, or the most speed translating from practice into the race. Chase Briscoe, 14th here. I think he finished, and he also also on the topic of Chastain, he finished fourth here last year. So I'm really liking him a lot. Briscoe, he finished sixth here. He's doing pretty well in these non-road course races, and I mean, 2 weeks ago he won Phoenix. He's got something under that car. Even Atlanta, he had a fast car. He just had some kind of issue at the closing laps of the race. Him, Blaney, and Bubba, those were some of the guys I were high on. They just kind of washed up the track, and yeah, losing all that momentum, you're just not going to finish as well. But they did cross the line, so that was good. Austin Cindric 10th here. He did run the Daytona road course in the IMSA series, and he says he likes to compare the IMSA road course car as somewhat similar to NASCAR, and he was the only really NASCAR guy that's active in the field right now to run that race. So I'm pretty high on him, although he's starting 10th. If you're starting anyone in the top 10, I would go for Austin Cindric, because not only that, he's also had some really good road course experience in the Xfinity race. So he's also got a higher multiplier or he's got the same multiplier as Chastain Briscoe. So even then, I'm still high on him. Although starting a bit higher than Chastain and Briscoe, just I mean, not even he did get some experience last year. He did run this race last year. He was running like third or first or something before ended up finishing 15th in the rain. So that's not a bad thing to risk on. Even though starting 15, he's starting 10th right now. That's kind of, you think that's a bad idea, but that was his first year in the Cup car, and this is a different Cup car. Like, this is a Gen 7 compared to Gen 6. And even then, at the Road America last year, he was aggressive. The only thing I'd only just be worried about is if he ends up really being aggressive and just wanting to either take out cars or just trying to risk his car too much. That's the only thing I would worry about. But Cindric is one of the guys I like. Blaney's starting way too high up there. Never really been good at road courses since, I think, 2019. He hasn't been as well. Also, another stat on Briscoe. He's finished top 10 in 3 of the 4 races with a 9.5 average finish. So, couple that with starting 14th, that's, some place differential, not as much as other guys, but he's definitely going to have a solid day, in my opinion. I think even that one non-robo road course that he didn't finish well was Sonoma, and even then, I'm not too worried about that because Sonoma and Kodo have no similarities. I don't think any of these road courses have a ton of similarities.
You're probably right.
Wait, say again? Sorry.
So you're probably right about that. You're 100%.
Yeah. And then also Chastain. He has a 7.5 average finish at these non-roval road courses. So yeah, both Briscoe and Chastain, I'm really high on, and I want to try and throw in, even if it's not super draft lineups, in some DraftKings lineups or in some NASCAR fantasy lineups. The only guy I didn't mention, Harvick in 18th. Just avoid him. Just been terrible at these road courses, especially on these newer ones, and so I'm avoiding that. I'm avoiding him. So yeah. Oh yeah,
So, yeah.
you guys are posting lineups in the chat.
I just posted mine.
It just
was about his.
Yeah, was the lock time at like 3 o'clock? I'm sorry if I talked a bit too much.
Yeah, so lock time will be at 3. Oh, so I guess 2:30 our time, so 3:30 your time.
Okay, so yeah, we're good. Never mind.
Yeah, we got plenty. There's plenty of time, brother.
Okay, yeah, because I remember last time it was like 1 hour before, and that's just
yeah. It's weird too because it locks a little bit sooner than DraftKings does.
Yeah, even then, like I'll give you an example today. Like in the F1 race, I was just before the race started, like 24 minutes behind. Someone car that I was using in like daily fantasy, their car just broke down, and so he wasn't able to race. So like, yeah, there's always situations that can happen, even like 5 minutes before the green flag flies, or even 1 minute before the green flag flies. So yeah, I would just give as much time before the green flag flies to set those lineups.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and it's always can be adjusted. The best thing about it, you can go in and you can adjust your lineup if you want to. So this is just kind of what I'm getting in beforehand. Anything could happen right before the race too. Somebody could do something with their car and move them to the back, baby.
Yeah. I think I was on Ryan Blaney. So Ryan Blaney's starting first up there. He's never been too good on these road courses, but he has a somewhat fast car these past few weeks. I think he's kind of the best Ford out there besides like Briscoe and maybe Joey Logano. But starting high up there, I mean, a lot of people were high on Ty Gibbs yesterday, starting first, but he had issues and he finished like 15th or 16th. So that's already lost points for you if you start the pole sitter. Although can Blaney have a good day here? I'm thinking yes, he's gonna finish in the top 10, but will he stay in the first place? I'm not betting on that or even
Nope.
considering that. Kurt Busch, I know, like we always like to mention, who's the better Busch brother here. Kurt Busch was the better Busch brother last week. I wasn't too surprised. Although Kyle Busch did have a faster car, so
Yeah.
you
Got
just
a
kind of
little accident though. Got a little close there.
yeah. And so Kurt Busch starting 11th here. He's been pretty decent on these road courses. I know a lot of his stats are from the Chip Ganassi Racing team, which folded up last year in the Chevy car. Even then, Kurt Busch, I think he's had like consecutive top fives coming into the race, so he's got a bit of momentum here. And even then, I hear his road coursing skills are pretty good. So I don't want to risk him too much because he's starting 11th, only one position higher than Cindric. I'd rather risk him and the other guys that like Larson, AJ Allmendinger, Byron, some of those guys. But if you do decide to pivot off of someone that I would say is not going to be highly owned, Kurt Busch is kind of your guy. And another guy that I would imagine not highly owned, Alex Bowman. Like I mentioned, he ended up wrecking out on the final laps because the final laps of that truck race were just wild, more wilder than what other races I've seen. Although maybe not as wild as the Cup race. Yeah, so
Craig said
Bowman
he's
does have some good speed here. He was the fastest car out of the Hendrick stable yesterday, starting fifth up there. Like I mentioned, any of the top 10 guys minus Hendrick, I'm just not feeling them too much. But can they have good days? I'm thinking yes. Um, yeah.
and Craig said he's gonna be riding the Ty Dillon roller coaster today.
Yeah, Ty Dillon, I mean, if you really want someone that has a high multiplier and
One point six
down there,
five.
yeah, in the championship mode also 2.45.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is interesting to use him here. He hasn't had the best of results because last week he wrecked out, and I expect the Eric Jones car. He's that's a sister car. That's what I've heard of because I've got some connections with some guys that are over RPM/GMS. Ty Dillon's just there to just be solid and just ride around and try and experiment. Eric Jones is more the guy that's gonna step over the edge and possibly wreck out, which he has done not Atlanta, but the last two races before Atlanta. Even then, Ty Dillon versus Gilliland, I'd go for Ty Dillon, starting way further back down there than Gilliland.
Mm-hmm. Starting at
But yeah,
33rd.
I'm not too high on any of these guys. I just would rather not prefer to use any of these higher multiplier guys. Like I said, the highest multiplier that I would go for is Michael Medell starting 27th, although going to the back 2.2. He's got a better chance of finishing here. Although the speeds don't show it as much. I just like how he runs these road courses and just the way he runs them. And also he's got some sports car experience here, so that's going to be really valuable here. And the other highest multiplier I'd go to is William Byron. Just starting 24th there down there, and in the Hendrick car, it's pretty much a safe bet if he doesn't wreck out. And even then, he had an issue last year in the rain, come home to finish 11th. So, I mean, all you'd really need is a top 15, top 10 finish from him. Yeah. So yeah, let's dig into these lineups, shall we?
Yeah. You can go ahead and set a lineup too, because I've set my lineup. I want to know what Craig's going to be doing, like what he's going to be playing in champion, because I know he said play Ty Dillon. I'm sure he's not going to have him at the champion because that's like extremely risky.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I think like I said, I'm pretty high on William Byron, so I'm going to throw him in. Larson, I know, is a 1-point multiplier. I'm going to throw him in. I might do the stack of Hendrick, go and chase Larson and Byron. I just think those guys have been really good on these these road courses. And then 2 spots left over. I'm definitely not going anyone higher than like 1 point or like lower than 1.2. So I'm thinking either going with Allmendinger, although Allmendinger is going to the back, like I mentioned, so that's kind of an issue right there. Although really, you kind of want that want a higher starting spot. Although you're saying like 20th, oh, that's not too high. But I mean, it's better than starting 40th right now or even 30th right now, compared to what he's running. So
Damn. So Almanir is going to the back, huh?
Yeah, Almanier is going to the back. Although not a lot of people are worried too much. I'm not worried too much on it, but I kind of just don't want to use him. Because I kind of like not Cindric, Chastain, the guy I mentioned, starting 16th. I know he doesn't have too high of a multiplier compared to the guys I mentioned, but he's got a fast car these few weeks. I don't think. Also, Trackhouse has been really hungry for their first win, so I'm gonna go there. And then the next guy, I'm kind of high on Kyle Busch or Truex. I think I might go Kyle Busch because he's got the experience from the truck meet yesterday, and so I'm gonna take that over Truex. I know Truex didn't finish as well last year, but that was because of the rain. But although Truex did have a better finish last week in sixth. But yeah, I mean, if you're gonna play a Toyota, it's gonna either be between Truex Jr. or Kyle Busch. I'm just not going into Bell or Hamlin. Just too risky for me, even though they are starting higher up there and they seem to have a bit more speed than yesterday.
So I just switched out AJ Allmendinger for Byron. So I think that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, I would too.
Just take a little bit. It's too much. I don't like. Sometimes well, for sure it hurts you. So you automatically get that place differential minus points if you're moving to the back. So that's where you're starting off in the negative, which automatically hurts you. In SuperDraft, I'm not sure if it does it in any other ones.
It will, but the thing is, I know he's going to the back, and I know like a lot of times, like I stressed, that you don't want too many guys going to the back, but then again, he's been really good here. Won the Xfinity race last year or last week, and he did pretty well in the Cup race even last year, 7th or 8th, starting like 20th or something. So, I mean, if you're going to go skill wise, I think I'm going to AJ all day long. But man, it's really tough between AJ and William Byron because I kind of want those two guys. And honestly, I might just end up foregoing Kyle Busch and throwing AJ Allmendinger in there. Because I mean, I don't know if I can really pass up too much on AJ. I know he's going to be in the negatives, but then again, he could be caught up in a wreck. So, yeah,
That's true.
Chase Elliott as your champ. I think that's a good idea, Craig. I know his speeds, like I said, were 30th, but I heard from someone that he just didn't have the greatest practice. Not just like having issues, but I mean, he did say his car was some kind of not. He wasn't. I'll just say he wasn't comfortable in the car. It wasn't too much of an issue, but yeah, just having Chase Elliott in there. It's really between Chase Elliott for Larson for me as the champion. Which one do you think is really going to do better? I mean, just based off the multiplier, go Chase Elliott. But then again, Larson could also go out there and do something because, I mean, last year more than half of the road course races was between Chase Elliott versus Kyle Larson. I know we're in that new car here. Does that mean things are going to be the same? I think yes. If not, they're going to be up there somehow. And even then, yeah.
And the plan is hopefully next week that we can have our own little contest on SuperDraft so that you don't have to be on an elite subscription or anything like that. You can be on the free and fun and still play in the contest. So we're going to try to do one where we can have our own for our show. So then we can make it a little more fun, talk a little bit more shit before we go into it. Makes it a little bit more fun. Eventually, I think the goal is to maybe do something, but obviously before football starts up again, it'd be fun to do some live streams where we can at least during the. I mean, obviously we can't play any of the races directly on YouTube, but we can listen to it and react to what's going on, and everyone could be here on the channel, and we could be talking about the race and what's happening. So we might get some things going like that, maybe on some bigger races. So be on the lookout for that. What else are you thinking? Anything else you want to talk about? Anything else you want to bring up?
Not too much. I mean, this race hopefully is gonna be a lot calmer than last year. No rain. Although people could be aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I hope there's nothing too bad that's gonna happen.
I like watching
You-
these road course type tracks. I mean, definitely a lot different style of driving. It's not high gear, super fast control. I mean, a little bit more control. Having to take over people in a different way. It's just different.
Yeah, definitely. These road courses are gonna be more about skill and whatnot. And I
Mm-hmm.
know I think I forget to mention this a lot of times, but um, another thing a lot of people should be looking at is like pit road data. Like with these like newer pit crews, just only one or even newer pit stops with one lug nuts. There's people that have been
Mm-hmm.
struggling, and I would try to avoid those drivers, especially on the on the ovals. But even then, with just you can't really go down a lap here unless you have something really significant because yeah, just how long it takes to complete one lap and just
Mm-hmm.
the time that takes, and you fixing an issue, you probably won't be able to go down a lap unless it's that significant. So yeah, um, just for the upcoming weeks, I would just go look more into the pit road data. I'm gonna try and see if I can get that on or like get some information about that. But yeah, just pay attention to whoever's just literally falling down or yeah, whoever's falling down because of their pit road and whoever can try and come back from being down there. Um, Other updates. I don't see any too many
That's
updates
good.
for
Less
now.
updates, almost sometimes the better, because it's
Yeah.
nice to go into a race, knowing what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be throwing this race on. Like last week, I had the race on while I'm driving home, and it's just like, dang, all the crazy stuff that was happening. Oh my god, like the wrecks, like almost an instant wreck that happened, within a couple of laps, and then a couple more wrecks. It's just like shit. And the worst is when you have like your rate, your drivers crashing into another one of your drivers that you had. So
Mm-hmm.
then you like lose 2 or 3 guys. You're just like,
Yeah.
no. So it
Yeah.
gets kind of interesting, and especially when we got a bunch of us guys, that's what's gonna make it interesting if we do like a live stream and we're talking about what's going on, because then everyone's gonna
Mm-hmm.
be like, no.
Yeah, I would think so.
But yeah, we can get out of here. This is an every week thing. Every Sunday we do this, so just so everyone knows, we will be doing this every Sunday. Football. Once football season comes up, we're going to be a little bit different. But yeah, this is going to be fun. This show's been a lot of fun. Definitely missing a little bit of Craig in here, but yeah. Next time we might get some other guys in here too. So it's always fun to see if we can get some interesting new people, some new faces. Everyone has their own takes on drivers and stuff like that too.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, appreciate everyone coming out. Appreciate Andrew, you always being here. You're a G. You know your shit, and I love that. I love having that on the channel. So appreciate you like always.
Yeah. Oh, we have one more question. David in the chat says AJ a champion. Yeah, I would consider it. Although he does start back up there. I wouldn't consider it too much compared to like Larson, Chase Elliott, these kind of guys. Even Chastain, you could possibly even throw in the champion slot. Because even if he gets second, that's pretty good. Although if you're going for the champion, I would go for the winner. Um, I mean, if you're going off of experience, I wouldn't mind that. I'm just only worried about that starting position. I know a lot of people aren't starting back there, um, but can he get up to like um, shoot, someone just called me somewhere else. But can he get up there into the top 5, top 10? It's gonna be a bit of a stretch, but he has the car too, and he has the skills too. So if you want to throw a line like that, I would go ahead with it. But don't make that your priority choice.
David says he appreciates it, Andrew.
Yep.
We
Always
appreciate
be
you,
here.
David. Always being here. But let's get out of here. Gotta get this race on. I'm gonna go get some lunch, maybe have a couple beers, watch this race. It's gonna be a fun one. Like I said,
Also,
I
a lot
like
of March
these road
Madness and
courses.
still a lot of NBA stuff today too.
Yep. Gonna have some NBA. Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about that. Probably. So we'll probably talk about that on our little chat, and we'll throw some suggestions out on Twitter if anybody wants any suggestions for Super Draft basketball. We'll get some stuff out for basketball today too. So yeah, let's get out of here. Appreciate everyone. Appreciate you like always, Andrew.
Yep.
And we're out of here.
Peace.